Okay. All right. Oh God, no. Okay. Okay. Great. Everything should be working, or everything should be going terribly right now. I think my audio is going to be really bored. Hey, who's in chat? Oh, hey, Sola. Wait. Oh, I didn't do something. When do I not forget to do something, Sola? You know, it's a classic. It's a classic Nen blunder. Classic Nen blunder indeed. Classic Nen moment. Forget to do literally everything that might be useful. Hello, Requiem. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, that Icy. It's good to have some new people. Hey, Paige! Oh, I missed you guys so much. You would never believe it. You. Oh, I missed you guys so much. Holy crap. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. But like now that I'm back, I love it. I should probably tweet that I'm live. I never do I? You know, I spoke to somebody that's writing a PhD and they wanted to talk to me for information and just to have someone to talk to about comics, I guess. And honestly, God, that was so nice to do yesterday. That information is going to become so useful going forward. Hey, it's the Chainsaw Maniac. Hello, buddy. I've watched a few of your videos the past couple of days, and I'll be honest with you, they've really kept me, kept my blood flowing, kept me going. I'm always glad to see you when you put out something new. It's very nice. Who's A Bone? A Bone? I don't know. Let me just. Okay, cool. I've done all the things I needed to get done. How's everyone's Christmas been? What have you guys spent your time doing? What's everyone been up to? I'm just trying to make sure everything works. I feel like I'm missing something. Hey, it's Jess. Jessie Page Dawson, my biggest fan. I say it like I'm not her biggest fan instead. It's my biggest fan, Jessie Page Dawson. How are you? What have you been up to? I think I've only seen you stream once since the last time I think I spoke to you. I was hoping you would stream more, but you didn't, so that was very upsetting. I was actually keeping track as well. I was like, I got the alert on and everything. Maybe I missed one. Probably. Today, guys, we've got a lot I want us to cover. We've got a lot I want us to cover today, and I think a good place for us to start. Yeah, it's always good to watch good videos, man. It's always good to watch good videos. a good place I want us to start. Um, Today, I want to talk a little bit about Comixology. That depressing nightmare. I want to talk a lot about Comixology, a little bit about uh, God, my brain. Why is my brain blanking? I wrote the topic list. What's wrong with me today? Anyway, I want to talk about Comixology. I want to talk about some new Webtoon IP that's supposed to be coming up pretty soon. Um, Talk about ink blot art, and finally, I'm hoping we can get a bit of time to talk about Aftershock comics from all the way from last year, because I've kind of condensed a lot of that into information. You streamed thrice since? How have I missed it? Thrice since? It's an unfortunate day. An unfortunate day indeed. Oh well. I hear comics are booming, guys. Yeah, comics are booming. Oh, nobody's been laid off this year at all, everyone. Guys, comics are the highest point they've ever been since the Great Depression, okay? This is the biggest year for comics. We've never lost money. Every comic creator is a millionaire. Every comic creator is a billionaire, even. Frankly, if you don't believe me, that's poppycock. You just don't understand the complex and complex economic forces of the comics industry. You fool. Oh my god. Anyway, just checking. Is my volume okay? Volume good? Everything sound good, guys? Great. Awesome. Awesome. Making sure everything sounds good before we start. Um, I don't think I'm anybody's hero. That's a strange comment, but okay. Anyway, let's start. Let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome to season 3 of the Webcomics Hubcast, episode 1 of season 3. Episode 1 of season 3. And God, I'm loving it. Like Chainsaw Maniac said earlier before, the comics industry is soaking in cash. They're rolling in money. We're all millionaires. And that's the best part of it all. Yeah, Paige. Paige, did you get your $1 million check in the mail January 1st, like everyone else? I mean, I'm sure you did. I know I did. Jesse did as well. That was a really big moment for me and like everyone else. God, the economic forces of our nation, the economic forces of our what you call it, the economic forces of the world right now are leading to our comics kind of sat in a weird space. Let me throw my ones. What's going on with Comixology? I enjoy reading on it, so I'm wondering what's going down. Hope your day is going well. Comixology just lost. Well, why don't we start there? Comixology just lost 75% of their staff. Love. Yeah, someone did almost break into my house. Damn, Sola. Why are you telling everyone? All right. Someone almost broke into my house today, so that was pretty funny. That was actually quite funny. Anyway, and there's a helicopter outside. Anyway, what'd you call it? The thing is, right? The thing is, Comixology just lost 75% of staff. Let me even get my notes on this. I wrote a bunch of notes on this. Let's start from here. So this year, Amazon's have you guys actually seen how Amazon stock's been doing? I don't know. Has anyone noticed that? Amazon lost. let me just show you guys this. Amazon this year lost like like 30% of their revenue. Great. Amazon this year lost about 30% of its revenue. It lost a total of like a few million. I think it's like almost $1 billion. I think that's easily $1 billion of revenue. The market cap was 990 billion because it's $1 trillion company. It lost a couple $1 billion of revenue because it's been going down 30% this year. See, their current CEO, Amazon, Andy Jassy, the man with the whitest name, their current CEO, Andy Jassy, um, Andy Jassy basically came in 2021. He's been in charge since 2021, and his entire policy, basically from day one, has essentially been like a profit focused policy. Amazon needs to make a profit. That's all they talk about. That's all they have talked about, and that's all Amazon seems to really care about. It's been it's been his policy since day one, and I don't know if any of you have been noticing, but a lot of tech companies have been laying people off. And let me explain why. I think I need to kind of explain that to explain what I'm going to explain about Comixology, and also going further, Webtoon. Essentially, 2020. So going into into COVID, we had like a crazy increased use of the internet. I've said this to you guys a dozen times. The increased use of the internet led to a lot of very stupid deals. Basically, these companies saw crazy numbers showing up on everyone's charts. You know, crazy user numbers, crazy amount of engagement time, crazy amounts of watch time. Right? They saw that and they went, "Wow, that was definitely going to stay once COVID lockdowns are over. 100%." They were all presuming that post lockdown we would enter a world where most people worked from home. I want everyone to know that most of these companies post COVID are trying to stop their employees from working from home. So they were assuming that everyone post COVID would stop working from home, would start working from home, or at least live in a more home based environment where they'd be able to essentially access content more often. So they made a lot of risky deals, crazy trades. They made really stupid purchases. Um, one of the big ones they made one of the big ones they made, you guys already know, is Webtoon buying Wattpad for a crazy amount of money based entirely on debt. But another one was just staffing their companies like crazy, right? Staffing their companies with insane numbers of people. They all bought into hiring more employees than ever. Their staffing grew insanely because these people were sitting down there hoping for infinite growth, something that doesn't really happen, right? I don't need to tell you that. That doesn't really happen. They were hoping for infinite growth that was never going to come from anywhere in the world. And as such, these companies um, made bets on that logic. Meta made bets on that logic, hoping for the infinite growth of VR and hoping that their metaverse would get a lot of people in, right? And what you call it? And other platforms made bets on infinite growth, hoping they'd have a ton of other people there too. It was the best way to say it is it was a stupid idea, right? It was a dumb idea. And like now, a lot of these companies are essentially dealing with the fallout of that decision making. Um, with especially when a lot of the companies that are being run by these people are slowly losing revenue because when they hired all these new people, and then brought them to. Sorry guys, I have to do like a bunch of bans in chat because some people are being really annoying. Anyway, when these companies hired all these people, they also started a whole bunch of new internal businesses. You guys know some of them, like Stadia, getting a whole bunch of money put behind it, right? And other platforms like uh, other services. Like, wait, what the hell? Sorry, guys. Like, I'm looking at my chat and like I'm just seeing a lot of spam, and I'm having to remove it. Um, it's very irritating, to say the least. So I do apologize. Uh, Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird and creepy. People are strange. Anyway, no, if you just load it in, you're not gonna see the spam. The spam is a little bit older than that. Sorry. Okay, no longer distracted. Brain out. Back to normal. Anyway, they started a lot of internal organizations and companies trying around this like crazy amount of investment they wanted to keep pumping into the market with the idea and belief that the market was going to grow exponentially forever. Stupid fucking idea, right? Stupid fucking idea. And Amazon was one of those. Amazon spent a lot of money on gaming, for example. If you guys know about the what you call it, MMO New World, right? Amazon dumped hella money into New World. You know, especially into COVID, they tried to make sure it launched during COVID because they were like, we're definitely going to get all the users that we need. And they kept doing that for almost every single one of the companies that, the internal companies that they run. I want to also say, when I say internal companies, it's important to understand by internal companies, I do mean internal companies. In a lot of these bigger tech companies, they run internal, what they call orgs, which are essentially self-running companies. So like there's a CEO of Google, and then there's also like the CEO of Google Stadia. Stadia being an internal company in Google. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So like these companies made big bets on ideas that while they weren't dumb on the surface, definitely did not have the staying power they hoped that it did. And further to that, coming out of COVID into the recession that we are all very aware of, into the cost of living crisis that we're all very aware of and we're all kind of living through right now, we realize that like, it's more expensive than ever to maintain a lot of these services, even if you're going to maintain them on a loss, hoping that eventually they'll gain the users they need. An example being something like, what's a good one that you'll know? An example being something like something like New World, something like Google Stadia. These companies cost way too much to run, and as the economy is kind of like going into this downward spiral. And tech companies react very quickly during these times. They react incredibly fast because they know that like being slow has never really paid off for them. So these tech companies will usually perform the action of firing people as soon as possible. It reminds me like firing people as soon as possible, as soon as it makes sense to do so. And that brings us kind of to the Comixology news right now. Sorry it took me so long to get here. Monitoring chat and making a point is two things I don't need to be doing all at one time. Anyway, that's what kind of got us to this point. So basically, the other day, late in the night, essentially, I think it was late in the night, or like in the middle of the day, the CEO of Amazon Retail sent an email to a bunch of the staff saying essentially like he wants to lower Amazon's quote unquote cost to serve. He wants to lower Amazon's cost to serve. And further to that, at the beginning of this year, CEO Andy Jassy says, we're going to cut costs. We're going to cut costs because we need to make sure that we stay lean, essentially. And for that reason, Amazon, the company, has fired 18,000 people. And of those 18,000 people, 75% of them are from Comixology. If you don't know Comixology, it's a comic ebook platform, more or less. Like, it's the best way to put it, really. Comixology is a comics ebook platform. It had a subscription model, and it had multiple different methods of delivering content. But Comixology is just a typical online ebook platform. And in fact, you can still see them. If you Google them, you can still see them on Amazon's website. And Amazon essentially is in a position where they're shutting it down. They're basically leaving it with a skeleton crew. The idea right now is essentially to fire 75% of the staff and remove them in waves. So most of the employees, I think a number of the people who got fired are leaving this month. So they're all leaving today, essentially, or basically since the tweets came out. A number of them are leaving in June, and a number of them are going to leave in October. Comixology is, if you don't understand how big they are, maybe because you never use them, they're actually pretty well established in the community, well established in the industry. They have like partnerships with a lot of Japanese platforms like Viz Media, Kodansha, but they also obviously have partnerships with the typical people like Dark Horse, Marvel and DC, Image, and a lot of indie creators basically got their careers through Comixology and its originals series that they ran on there. So, it's a really big blow to the industry, with a lot of people left either without a job suddenly. Like one of the people who tweeted about how she lost her job while in the middle of visiting her family during a difficult time in Argentina. And like a substantial number of people realizing they got fired, you know, just when they were on the holiday or whatever. And like Amazon's gonna pay severance. Their severance is 60 days, so it's not too bad. But these people are basically losing their jobs in the middle of an economic downturn because these companies want to make infinite profit. They already all make profit. They just want to make more profit because they need to keep posting bigger and bigger numbers, which is absolutely fucking insane. God, like for a lot of people, God, that's so just I need like a moment when people aren't fucking weird in my chat. That's all I want. 5 seconds of my life that I can spend seeing people not be weird in my chat for like a solid minute. Anyway, yeah, it's in the YouTube chat. It's the YouTube chat. God, it's so cringe. You start a new, like my first live stream back, and it's just fucking cringe people, horrible people. What's new? Anyway, if you want to, yeah, that'd be really useful actually. So that'd help me a lot. Oh, Luxiva is here. Finally. She's so late. My YouTube mod finally shows up, everybody. Look at that. Wow. Love that for us. People are honestly so fucking wild. So wild. Anyway, whatever. That's the fucking Comixology thing in a nutshell, right? It makes sense. Everyone's on board. It's kind of a weird place to be, I think. I really looked up to Comixology. Comixology, I don't fucking know, Paige. Comixology for me was like, was very close to platonic ideal of a lot of things. Like, not like it was good, but it was just like, back when it came out, I thought it was a really big deal and really nice. Hey, Cateray. It was really nice and a really big deal that we finally had like a place to buy comics. Like, like I could buy a regular issue online. And as a kid, that was a really big move. That was really big for me. That was really big for me. Now that it's not, now that like it's gone, a little part of me is very sad, especially because I know the people who worked there, a lot of the people involved with Comixology were, I don't know, they were really dedicated people. Like they were really dedicated. Some of them held like other jobs on top of their Comixology job in comics. They just really loved comics. And it's kind of depressing that we live in an environment where like it's just not there. And it's like Comixology is most likely going to be shuttered in some way eventually in the long term. I hate that. I hate that that's a thing that we have to deal with. That's all. It just makes me sad a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry for like, doing I remember somebody once posted every webcomics hubcast Nen gets depressed about capitalism. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like it's what it is. To some extent. I can't help it. I apologize. I hope I haven't bummed you out too much. But we can move on to, and we can actually do a topic change now because now that's made me really sad. We can move on to a little bit better news. If you guys want to know the better news. It's actually news about Webtoon launching a bunch of new series. I never talk about that, and you guys know that. Hamster Jewel is also my favorite webcomic. I never talk about Webtoon launching new IP. You guys also know that. I'm not really a Webtoon fan. That's an understatement of the year, but let's just use that phrase. Not a Webtoon fan. But today I really wanted to talk about it because it's Webtoon's push to launch new series all the way through by expanding, essentially using web novels as their base. So we all know Webtoon bought Wattpad. We know, if you don't know, Webtoon also runs another service called Yonder, which is their light novel service. And Webtoon's also got their hand in the platform Royal Road, which is also another web novel service. And Webtoon's gone to Wattpad and Yonder and Royal Road, and it's taken a bunch of series and is trying to turn them into comics. They're making a big focus on fantasy, what's called lit RPG. If you don't know what lit RPG is, I didn't either. Lit RPG is essentially just literature about like MMORPG games. So think of your Solo Leveling. That's a lit RPG. It's a light novel, lit RPG. The fact is, like, the story has, or if you think of Log Horizon, think of Log Horizon. That's also a thing. That's also like a lit RPG. Um, the IP is getting adapted. There's going to be a lot of IPs getting adapted throughout the year, but the IPs that are getting adapted, in my opinion, that you might want to see. Let me show you some of them. So we've got Trailer Trash by 4064. That's one of them. The Primal Hunter by Zogarth. Paranoid Mage by Inadvisably Compelled. These three are on Royal Road. This is a practical guide to evil, which is on its own WordPress site and is 7 books long. I cannot explain enough that it is 7 30-chapter books long. It's a long series. It literally concluded. It concluded like 2 days ago. Like I think it concluded pretty much 2 days ago or whatever. No, a few days ago, not 2 days ago. Concluded a few days ago. What was it? February. No. Oh, my bad. I misread 2022 as 2023, so I'm dumb. February 26, 2022 is when it concluded. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was wrong. And I just think that that's pretty funny. Webtoon got their hands on this series and is adapting it to a web novel. So that's something I'm really interested in seeing. Actually, a practical guide to evil um, is something that I'm very interested in having a look at. As a webtoon, and also finally, Chasing Red. Chasing Red is a was a Wattpad novel, so it makes sense how they've got that. Looks of it, please just ban Dark Sphere, please. Thank you. Just ban them. It doesn't matter. If you think they're annoying, ban them. I don't. We don't have to care. Yeah. It's so like today is something. You know, today's a something day. Anyway, yeah. These are the series that Webtoon is adapting to from web novel to Webtoon. Um, a Girls Love original was a web novel first. Is it? Anyway, is it? I don't know why. I have to take time to read chat. Maybe I'll just never live stream again. Nah, I can't have that. What girls love novel? Oh, Owls and Night Sky. Yeah, I mean, Sola. It'd be great if you let me get through my goddamn like fucking thing I wrote down. Anyway, these are the only I think these are the only webtoons that are the only web novels that are becoming webtoons. Um, Webtoon's already done it before with Rebecca Sullivan's Night Owls and Summer Skies. Sola. It was in the thing. Webtoon's already done it with Rebecca Sullivan's Wattpad web novel, Night Owls and Summer Skies, which already has an originals comic out. And it's got about 3.2 million views total since it came out. Which I think is pretty good. I think it's actually doing really well, all things considered. It started out in, I think, October 2022. And all the way till now, it's still maintaining a decent amount of popularity and doing pretty well. Um, the web novel had 750K views on Wattpad and is having 3.2 million views on Webtoon, which I think shows like the translation of the medium from novel to comic really gained it a good number of extra people in its audience. Or, I think that's what it indicates. In fact, as of now, it has 8.3 million views, and I think that indicates the sheer power the visual medium has right now in the media space. Also, if you didn't know, there's another webtoon adaptation there's another web novel adaptation on Webtoon. It's from the company Moonquill. Moonquill is essentially like I think the best way to put them essentially they're like DNC. They're like Golem Factory. They're just like a web novel web comic company. They're more like a web novel company, really. I think they're getting into web comics now, and they push through tons of web novels with like a team of writers writing a bunch of different web novels. It seems, and they adapted their web novel Lord of Goblins to a webtoon, and it's also doing pretty dang well. So Webtoon gave me that news to give you, by the way, just so you guys know. I've looked through all of these comics, I've looked at the two comics they've mentioned and all the web novels they've mentioned. And it's really interesting to see um, that the novel adaptation might be the new meta a lot of people are going to rely on. Build an audience using your web novels and then slowly kind of slowly trying to kind of work your way towards the webtoon itself, and then the webtoon becomes like your new way of making like making another bucket load of money. It's very interesting to see. For context for everyone, um, that Moonquill's Lord of Goblins is now currently going to become a webtoon original, which is why it's in a lot of press releases about the whole web novel move that Webtoon's making. Yeah, it's really interesting to see the move. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Do you guys think that like this web novel thing is going to be a really good move for the industry as a whole? I mean, like, I don't know. I I like seeing them. I don't know how many indie creators are going to start doing that themselves. How many indie creators are going to start um, making their own like web novel in an attempt to essentially like build an audience and then move to creating a webtoon. Would you guys do that? That's something that you guys think would be interesting to do? Let me know. I'm actually quite interested in how everyone's feelings around this are. Let me see. The Jail's Art of Wattpad novel was cute. Yeah, it is really cute. Are these just Andrew Tate fans? The people in my chat, Andrew Tate fans? That's sad. Imagine being an Andrew Tate fan in 2020, 2023. Jump off a bridge. Anyway, it honestly makes me want to write a web novel, Wattpad web novel. Yeah, it's very accessible, isn't it? Web novels are way more accessible. I think for me personally, um, I've I get it. Like it gives a lot of newer creators time to kind of like get their bearings a little bit, right? Get themselves together. Make sure your story really makes sound sense before you start drawing it. Because I think a lot of creators they draw their story, they draw their story, they write and draw their story, and they start to realize the holes, but they've already sunk in dozens of hours into drawing it that just they refuse to look back. When you write it, you give yourself a lot of room to grow as a writer before you even start putting putting what do you call it, brush to canvas, if you will. So I see the move towards um, more people creating web novels before they start making their webtoon to be to be a really good move. I don't know if it's something for me personally, but also I don't know if it's something for most creators as well. But I wonder, would it even be possible to maintain a web novel and a webtoon simultaneously solo? I don't think so. I think it would kill you unless you're okay with like writing only the prose and then drawing from the prose, like drawing based on your prose. But that sounds nightmarish. It sounds absolutely nightmarish. I tried to write on Wattpad, but I didn't get much traction. I get the impression only romance stories do well there. Do you get the impression? I mean, on Wattpad, when I was looking, a lot of the biggest stories you write are romance related, but it doesn't seem like it's romance that's the biggest. It seems, um, and I'm actually literally going to Wattpad and just looking at some of the bigger stories. It seems that doesn't seem like romance is the only thing that's the biggest. It seems that any story that's like female focused is really big on the platform, which I think says a lot about its current audience. And also, like, even when you look at the editor's picks, it's a lot of like female focused stories, not just romance, but also horror, also like teen love, I guess. It seems like there's a love aspect in everything. I just don't know like how much the love aspect plays into it. I would say the love has to at least like the romance aspect of the story needs to be like at least hinted at, you know? There needs to be at least like a rough, like a small amount of romance in the story. Otherwise it's not gonna get any audience. I don't know. Do not go into the ABO tag, I beg. Why wouldn't I go into that? What's ABO? It sounds like a juice. I would love to see the ABO tag. Guys, is ABO a good thing? Someone tell me. um I don't know. Even if you don't do well on like Wattpad, or you don't like being on Wattpad, because of its very strong romance focus. If you look at other platforms like Royal Road, which is where Webtoon got a lot of their content from, where Webtoon got a lot of their content from recently, like the top things on Royal Road are like action based stories, fantasy action. So like if Wattpad isn't doing it for you, Royal Road would be a good place for you to post your fantasy action series. Everyone in chat just telling me do not look up ABO. Will I get banned on YouTube? Probably. If I do. Everyone here, I think everyone should write at least one ABO story. That's a requirement before you become a proper author. Oh my god. Omegaverse bye. I'm dead. Like I'm talking to Luxifer too much. I just said I'm dead. Anyway, it looks like the current the current meta for for Royal Road and Wattpad are different enough that like even if you don't really want to write, even if you don't really want to write romance stories, which I think Wattpad does have a bigger focus on in general, although I don't think that's the only thing that does well on there. I think you would have quite a lot of room, a lot of space to grow on a platform like Royal Road. Or if you would like to spend years of your life running your own WordPress account just to publish your novel, you could do that. uh, which I think is it's a move. It's a noble move for sure. Um, I wouldn't call it a smart move, but it's a move. The creator of A Practical Guide to Evil started writing in 2015. Aratus Arata started writing in 2015 and didn't stop until pretty much 2022. 7 years of writing, and now their work is adapted, and that could be a move for you too. Although, if I'm honest with you, that sounds like a nightmarish move. Um, but that could be the direction you take. They're a relatively big creator in and of themselves. And they didn't really need to be. They didn't really need this pub. They didn't need to be like adapted. They didn't need their work adapted for them to be successful. So this wasn't like a for them. They're already big. This is just the icing on top, more or less. So I don't know. That's kind of what the web novel space looks like. I'm not an expert on any of these. I barely know anything about the web novel space, if I'm honest with you. It seems kind of scary. I was emailing one of the contacts who gave me this news piece just to understand a few things about web novels, and like it just seems very much like a more like a very because Webtoon has like a very low churn rate because it takes so long to draw a webcomic and put out a webcomic, and so long to like do that over and over and over again. That like even though we see new series every week on like originals and in Canvas, it's not actually that much compared to a lot of other platforms where the content is published. But like Wattpad seems to have like a bunch of new stuff that could suddenly become really popular coming up like every day. And to me, that's very fast. That's very scary. Um, Later, Looky Bookie. That's very scary. And to me, I don't know. I don't know. That puts me in a certain state of uneasiness about making any recommendations about what to do when working in that space. Um, Further from that, let's talk about some other piece of news that is related to related to platforms that are the new platforms that are coming up or new content coming up. Let's talk about Inkblot art. Who uses Inkblot here? Actually, that's a really important question. If you use Inkblot and you're watching the VOD, can you please comment that down below? Just tell me if you use Inkblot. Inkblot art. I think their website is inkblot.art. I don't remember. Yeah, inkblot.art. If you've never seen it before, now would be a great time to get off your drawing tablet and look them up. Do you use inkblot.art? I just want to know how people feel about it. How people feel about the platform, the website, the app. They did a town hall today that I've watched. I didn't really get much from it. I mean, I got some things from it, but Just want to know how people use inkblot.art. If you've never seen the site, I'll just show it on a screen share right now. This is inkblot. If you've never seen the site, this is inkblot.art. Um, they're basically deviant art. They're deviant art replacement with the promise to not have any NFTs or crypto, be involved with any of that stuff. This is their website. They did a town hall today with their CEO, Jay, explaining their entire path, their pathway forward in terms of raising more money. They raised $30,000 last year in Kickstarter in October of 2021. And they want to raise a little bit more money again this year, another 30 grand maybe at least, to kind of carry them into 2020 into 2024 or late 2023. They have a mobile app. They have a website. They have a mobile app on Android and iOS, and they have a website. Oh, and for some reason, if I scroll down the wrong way, it's not here anymore. Earlier, I was on this website with a bunch of other people, and there was straight up just a picture of someone's ass, like right there. like just a photo of someone's bare ass. Which reminds me of being on Hive, the Twitter replacement, and how at one point I was opening and they were just like straight up furry porn. So not particularly like the ideal place to be, if I'm honest with you, depending on who you are. But like, I want to just know if anyone's thought about using a platform like this, or if you think you need a deviant art alternative or an ArtStation alternative, especially with those two platforms really turning to the AI arts NFT space or whatever. Like, I've used this platform. It's for $30,000. I think it's fine. I think in terms of $30,000 a month of spending money, maintaining a site, keeping it up, and like transitioning a site from running on like essentially what was essentially Squarespace to being having its own back end and front end with no full-time developers. I think for 30 grand, this is pretty good. In a lot of ways, like, that's nice. I think that's a nice thing to see. In a lot of other ways, I think this site is janky as fuck. And I'll show you one of the things I mean. Let me show you. Let's look someone up. Let's look up someone that's literally on the front page right there, like Dead Gummy Bears. And while I'm doing that, I'll just answer a question that somebody asked me. Do I like Hive? Hive is bad. Anyway, let's look up Dead Gummy Bears. Oh, look, there's Dead Gummy Bears. If you click on Dead Gummy Bears, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go gray. Now, I might be completely wrong. I'll click on that account, and it will just work like normal. But I remember very specifically that when I clicked on it, it'll go gray because it's a bug. Oh, I'm right. Thank God. Website's gone gray. And no, it's not loading anymore. That's it. That's where the website's ended. Just there. Great moment, kids. Love that for us. If you reload the page, that part of the website does come back. So it actually does load Dead Gummy Bears. But like for me, the site is in a situation where like, while on one hand, I think the people making this have a lot of really good intentions. And I think overall, they've done really well with the funding that they have. I think on the other hand, like, it's just kind of bad. I'm not here to like harsh their mellow. They seem like really nice people. Jay, their CEO, he seems like a very nice person. It's just a matter of like, I look at their platform, I look at what they're offering, and it's not very good. I don't believe in it. I don't know how any of you feel. I don't believe in it at all. I don't believe in the platform at all. And I have almost like zero faith in Inkblot becoming a DeviantArt replacement. Again, if it does, good. Like, I'll be happy if it does. If it became a DeviantArt replacement, I'd be more than happy. I'd be ecstatic because frankly, I don't particularly think we should live in an environment where the biggest platforms that host the collective artistic value of all people are people that also don't really value the human cost of art. I don't think that's what we should ever be living in. So I'm happy that there's a platform to go to that's an alternative. I just don't think this is the one. And there's lots of reasons to not think that. One of them being the platform itself is just kind of jank and not very good in ways that, like, I think even a beginner developer would solve. an early developer would solve. And in other ways, I think its stated goal is a little bit too, I don't know, just because for me, it's stated its goal from what I can see, and this is my perception of its goal. Its goal is to essentially be a one-to-one replacement for DeviantArt, which I don't think is the move. I don't think being a one-to-one replacement for DeviantArt is a meaningful thing to be, or it does anything, or achieves anything. When you should be aiming to essentially be like um, just your own kind of page, your own platform, your own place for for art posting. And they didn't say they want to become a one-to-one replacement of DeviantArt. It's just me taking all the different things that they've said and just kind of gleaming my own understanding from that. I, of course, they might genuinely say, no, we don't want to be that. We want to be our own thing. We're just starting from there because we know that that's a really big sore spot for the community, and I get that. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm starting from. I think for me, I brought Inkblot up before, and every time I bring it up, everyone goes, "What? What is this place?" Um, and like in general, I can see why it kind of sucks. But at the same time, I also wonder, like, is Inkblot is Inkblot like is this new move towards people essentially making alternative platforms because a certain platform that they used to use has wronged them in some way, slighted them in some way? Is that like the move our community should be going towards? Like, if when Webtoon pisses you off, and if someone makes an amateur kind of terrible Webtoon ripoff, am I obligated to support that person because Webtoons pissed me off? Like, it's just what I'm thinking about. It's like because I can't read this platform as anything but a creation of frustration, which is not their fault, but it is what it looks like. It looks like a creation of frustration, a creation born from the fact that like DeviantArt kind of miffed me, or was just kind of shitty, or was just pretty shitty, and I decided to make this instead because I'd rather make my own DeviantArt with what you call it, with shotguns and thumbtacks than have to stay on DeviantArt a moment longer. I don't know. Do you think this is a noble thing? Would you post your content on here? How do you guys feel about that? I want to know because I have no good opinion about this platform. Nothing I think nothing I think about this platform is positive. No, that's a lie. Not much I think about this platform is positive, apart from the fact that I think the CEO is very nice, and speaks very well. Other than that, not much here for me. So I'm in a weird spot where I feel like a platform like this is going to come up. It's going to take a bunch of people's money, because they really want it to succeed. They're gonna give a bunch of their money for it to succeed, and then it's going to fail, not because of anyone's desire for it to fail or anyone hating it or anything, just because it's coming into a market that isn't ready for it, with no bigger draw than I'm not going to do AI and NFTs. I don't know. I don't know. These are the thoughts I have about it. Maybe these are just kind of rambly thoughts, but this is kind of where I ended up thinking about it. Anyway, if anyone has anything to tell me about that, tell me. I'll read it in a bit. But I'll move us on to our final topic of the night because I have things to do. I want to talk about Aftershock Comics, which is not a webcomic thing, but I think it's a pretty interesting thing. You guys know Aftershock? Aftershock is basically a small time. Would I say an indie comics publishing service? Yeah, I would say an indie comics publishing service. Um, they've been well, I would say an indie comics publishing service. They've been around since about 2015, kicking about since 2015. Um, Basically, in December of 2022, one of the creators that worked for them was talking about how his payments had not arrived at all, like really late. The creator is called Will Robinson, and even Alex DeCampi, if you guys know Alex DeCampi, was like, several of my friends haven't been paid, and we're probably gonna have to sue Aftershock Comics because they haven't paid any of us. So then at some point a list of Aftershocks creditors, people they owe money to, is like shown, and it's a mile and a half long. Aftershock Comics is basically sitting there owing tons and tons of money, and then a week after all of this comes out, Aftershock files Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which for me is very funny, but like it's what it is. Chapter 11 bankruptcy isn't like is a different type of bankruptcy where essentially you reorganize your company. You reorganize your company, um, and you kind of try to find a way to essentially pay off all your debts. That's the hope. So usually, so the company's selling things. FTX, for example, is in Chapter 11 bankruptcy right now, and is being taken. And that bankruptcy is being overseen by a different CEO. Um, Turns out, and because they have to file Chapter 11, what do you call it? Their partner, their sister company, Reeve Ghosh Television, a TV and movie company, that is basic. They merged a little while ago. Also has to file bankruptcy, and they're going under, as they're both going under as one singular entity. The creators for Reeve Ghosh include people like AMC, the Discovery Networks, and the biggest company that they're one of their creditors called Access Road Capital. Both Reeve Ghosh and Aftershock. So basically, we're just going to say Aftershock. Aftershock owes Access Road Capital specifically $13 million. Overall, they owe anywhere between 200 and 1,000 creditors, and their total liability ranges anywhere between 10 and 50 mil. But we know it's somewhere around $13+ million, right? It's somewhere around $13 to $20 million. And in fact, the actual I'm just reading something. Yeah, the actual exact amount of money they owe Access Road is somewhere in the $16 million+ range. My bad. Anyway, the CEO essentially was like, and basically the CEO of Aftershock, John Kramer, said, we're filing a bankruptcy because we want to basically block a creditor who's trying to take over the company. This is actually a thing that happens. So it's what you call it? It has a name. It's usually called a hostile takeover, but it's like based takeover. It's a thing that companies do. I forgot what the word was. It's like a credit-based acquisition. Essentially, the company gets a bunch of debt on your books, like a ton of debt on your books. And they do that with the intent of watching you dry up on purpose. This is all done on purpose. It's not like what a fun coincidence. They do that with the purpose of watching you dry up. Yeah, it's called a credit acquisition. Watching you dry up, and then when you've dried up as a company, when you've run out of revenue, they use the debt that you owe them to buy up your company. So they don't actually pay you new money. That $13 million they gave you that you couldn't pay back, that $16 million they gave you that you couldn't pay back, that money, like they're gonna take your company as payment. And when they take that company, they leave that $60 million on that company's books. So that means the company has to spend basically its entire life under its new owner trying to make back the $16 million. Which is, in my opinion, insane. It's absolutely insane. So John Kramer files Chapter 11 bankruptcy essentially to prevent that. It's like, this is the only way I can maintain ownership of the company. John still owns majority of the company, with a few other people owning parts of the company. And essentially, the late comic creator payments, and essentially still in a situation where a ton of comic creators either haven't been paid or have been paid really late or will be paid really late much later. Aftershock left a statement that basically says this. The truth of the matter is that the company is addressing late payments as outstanding funds owed to the company come in. There are no non-payments. Everyone who is owed money will be paid. We recognize our obligations and consider creator compensation our number one priority. We apologize for the situation and are making our best effort to rectify it as quickly as possible. Oh, and I should say something really funny. During this entire situation, we found out that a guy that they hired as a senior editor, I believe was a senior editor, or God, I'm trying to remember what it was. I sent it to my assistant earlier. A guy they hired a guy they hired as like a senior editor or as like a publishing consultant. Yeah, publishing consultant. His name is Chris Ryle. He was announced as working at the company. He was on like the company's website as like a staff member. Guy never started. Guy never even got to start. His start date was November 1st. My man never started. The company never started. He didn't like everything fell through, but they told nobody. They told nobody that he wasn't coming in. They found Chapter 11. Like this is really bad because a bunch of creators didn't get paid. And you know what? To me, that's like the worst thing in the world. Like I think every creator deserves their money, and nobody should ever be left without money, especially when they've put in a ton of time and a ton of work into anything. It's just very funny that a company was run this badly. Like I'm sure there was a point when they realized that this was really bad. Like this was really bad. And they just it feels like they had no choice but to keep digging into the ground, keep digging their graves. It's awful. And for context, most of the people who haven't been paid, by the time this happened, hadn't been communicated with for 6 months. All of this basically unfolded throughout December, well into January, and all the confirmations of information kind of came together like now, like the beginning of this year, which to me is absolutely fucking insane. Holy hell! Like, like it, I know we're dealing with. I know our economy is pretty bad. I just did. It never dawns on me how fucked our industry is in a lot of ways until I start remembering the number of people who even still now don't get paid. Like they do a bunch of work. They burn rubber and they don't even get paid the pittance, the tiny amount of money that they that they deserve. Let it like it's quite crazy to me, to be honest. Like I don't know. I don't know. Cause like and this isn't the first. This is by the way, I want it to be clear. In the past 2 months, this is the first of two non-payments I've heard about in both the comics and webcomic space. There's one in the webcomic space, but I think I'll cover that in a follow-up show. Like it to me, it's just absolutely fucking bad shit. I've been I hey Fernie, what's up? We're just talking about creators not getting paid. A classic, a classic in our job, a classic in our lives. I'm just I'm thinking about how it would be in the webcomic space if suddenly people weren't paying. Like if Webtoon creators didn't get paid, that would be crazy. We'd hear about it forever because those guys are not. Because I mean, no, that's not true. We wouldn't hear anything about it for about a year, and then one day, one originals Webtoon creator will tweet out about it and about how not getting paid sucks and how they just want to eat. They haven't been paid in a year, and that's when we'll find out. They'll deal with it for a year before they say anything. But at least regular comic creators only do 6 months. God, it's just such a awful situation. God, help me. Anyway, that's the news for today. That's the news I've missed since I left on December. Give me your thoughts, kids. How do you guys feel about anything and everything I've spoken about today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below or in the chat during the live stream. I've got a bit of time to answer some questions. So tell me now. Summary of today's live stream is not worth screwed. I'll be honest with you. I'm still pretty hopeful. Again, Webtoon releasing all that new IP, despite the fact that they made a really risky and stupid bet on Wattpad, is evidence of the fact that our industry is moving towards a direction where there is more money in it than there has ever been. The problem now is that money is wielded in the hands of a handful of morons. Our hope, and our big hope, is that we can shift the dynamic of our industry as creators ourselves by diversifying our portfolio, going to different platforms, or just choosing different primary platforms instead. And we can really do that as a way to kind of remove the power and leverage that a handful of companies have and spread the money out a little bit so that we can all like negotiate well. And also we should make more collectives. Make more collectives. In fact, there's two things for that. Do I have anything? There's more. I'm going to talk about that. Do you have anything you're looking forward to this year? Two things actually. I'm hopefully, if everything goes well and nothing goes terribly, I should be in Denmark for a comic convention in February. Um, I'm also going to try and go to more conventions this year and just take footage and post videos about conventions. I think that'll be pretty fun. Hopefully. Um, as for just personal stuff that's coming up, actually, it's a really good time to say it. Good evening, Twitter. No, wait, wrong thing. Good evening, creators. It's me. It's your boy, Nenson. It's your boy, Nenson. I just want everyone to know that I am opening up. Oh, let me just make sure I've actually done this correctly. That I am opening up reviews on the channel this year. I'm doing that this year. I'm doing that for the first time. I've not really done reviews ever. You guys know that. I've never done reviews before, but I figured after multiple years of doing this stuff, I might as well give it a shot. So I'm opening reviews. To that extent, and I'm just trying to like put out an outline on this text, all right? Trying to put an outline on this text, but to that extent, I'm also opening a reviews email address. Hold on, let me make sure you can actually see that. Oh my God. How am I so bad at this? How am I so bad at this? So bad. I'm opening up a reviews email address. Okay, so it's not letting me do anything more than that. I'm just gonna show it, whatever. I'm opening up a reviews email address. Here is my reviews email address. It's reviews@webcomicshub.co.uk. It's on the screen. You can send me your comic, your webcomic, or a physical version of your comic, or tell me where to buy a physical version of your comic so that I can do a review of your comic. I try to do one a month is the hope. I try to do one a month. You can only send me one email per IP. So if you make, for example, an ordinary Let's Play and Girls of the Wilds, for example, you only send me one email for each. So one for Girls of the Wilds, one for an ordinary, one for Let's Play. That'd be the example. Reviews@webcomics. Oh, that's the wrong email. Crap. Wrong email. Wrote it wrong. I knew I messed something up. I always do, don't I? There, I'm just gonna make it bigger. I'm gonna make it slightly bigger. Reviews@webcomicshub.co.uk. I'm not gonna do them on stream. I'm gonna try to do them as a video. I'm gonna try and make sure they're a video with condensed thoughts in one place where I discuss the concept. And there's not going to be a score or anything. But yeah, that's the hope. So if you want me to review your comic, your webcomic, for example, you need to sell the comic to me. You try and sell the comic to me, because if it's not interesting, I'm not going to bother looking into it. But if you can send me an email with you trying to sell the comic to me, give me a link to it for the webcomic. If you want to send me or mail me a physical version of your comic, I live in the UK. You can just email me, tell me that you want me you want me to review a physical version of your comic, and you can send me that in the mail. I'll give you my address to send it to me in the mail. Or if you want me to buy a physical version of your comic, just tell me where to buy it. Tell me you want me to buy it. I'm happy to buy it. And just you still have to sell it to me though, so I can be bothered to spend my money on it. Yeah, there's gonna be reviews this year. It's pretty fun. Let's see, one or two other things I want to let you guys know about. Oh yeah, I have a tip line this year. These are all the things I'm looking forward to. I have a tip line. It's called press@webcomicshub.co.uk. If you have any mailing lists that you're looking to put stuff in, that's the email for you. If you want to add me to your company's mailing list, that's the email for you. If you have any tips on anything happening in the industry, people not getting paid, blah, 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 that's the email for you. I'm going to work on getting a more secure email for that, but this email is pretty secure as it is right now. Don't worry about any of your information being revealed. Any emails you sent me are accepted as fully anonymous for any purposes. You will not be named or mentioned if you are trying to tell me anything that's going on in the industry that you think is kind of shady or negative from people or from companies. It'll be good to know. Hit me up on that email, press@webcomicsHub.co.uk. And what else is there? There's one last thing, but I've completely forgotten it. Oh God, I'm getting old. I'm getting so old. I mean, I think that's kind of it actually for those two. Yeah, these are the things I'm looking forward to. It's gonna be a year where I try to do more. It's gonna be a year where I try and do more, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking really, really, really looking forward to that. Other than that, I'm gonna try and review stuff that I care about. Other than that, I'm gonna keep following the leads that I find on my own. So look forward to more streams on more news on more fun things because that's what I'm happy to do for the rest of this year. Now to read Sola's messages. Depressed people are suffering because of a corporation, but capitalism. What can you do? Classic. That's a Webcomics Hub staple. I should get a jacket. We should make a hoodie that says capitalism. What can you do? I'm gonna give Inkflot like 2 years to get on the level other platforms are. If not, I'll lose hope. That makes sense. And Aftershock is sad. Yeah, it's just sad. It's sad and stupid. It's what it is. This year is going to be a better year, I think, for the industry as a whole in a lot of little ways. It's going to be a terrible year for the industry in a lot of big ways. But I'm looking forward to, much like the rest of you, being a part of that machine that does our best to give a positive environment, positive set of things to the community. Oh, last thing, if you're a good letterer or you know somebody that's a good letterer, like a good letterer, like a good typesetting letterer person, let me know because I'm looking for one to run one of my workshops. Workshops are coming this year, by the way. Woo, yay! Anyway, it's one of the beginner webcomics workshops for the year. So if you're looking for that, if you're someone who's good at lettering or you know someone who's good at lettering, just send them my way. I'll figure out how to make them a good teacher. You just need to trust me with them. Okay? I think that's everything I have for the week. I hope you guys didn't miss me too much. I actually missed you guys a lot. I'm very happy to be back. Look forward to more weekly shows and more late tweets. Remember to follow me on twitter.com/webcomics hub or at webcomics, twitter.com/webcomics_hub, at webcomics_hub. Instagram at Webcomics Hub, one word. I have a Facebook page, Webcomics Hub 1. Why am I advertising it? Who cares? Let's see, Twitter, Instagram. I have a TikTok. Look forward to some shorts, maybe. God, I can't imagine making TikToks. You guys ready to see me TikTok dance? You guys ready to see me I'm gonna do the gritty, guys. I'm gonna do the gritty on TikTok while reviewing a webcomic. I'm gonna hit the gritty while telling you why I think Let's Play is a mediocre comic. That entire joke is just for me. More posts on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, watch me do all of that, and then it goes nowhere. Classic Nen moment, really. Oh my God! All right, that's today's thing. I hope it was actually full of information. Next week, I don't know what we're gonna cover, but it's gonna be something fun. I usually have. I'm trying to make a list more. I'm trying to make a bigger list of things. Yeah. Anyway, if you have stuff you want me to look into, by the way, do DM me on Discord like usual. That's kind of it from me, and I'll see you guys next week. Next week. Maybe we'll do like a read along or something. Maybe we'll do a live review to start off the review season. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Peace out. Bye. Ooh. Call it the glizzy. Guys, I'm gonna hit the glizzy. That's gonna be a fun time.